Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back or welcome to my podcast, Rewire to Inspire. I'm your host, Jessie Brown, and I am very excited to be jumping on the microphone with you all for episode number 213. If you missed my last episode, number 212, I shared with you all 5 things I'm sick of in our society. Last week's episodes were definitely very truthful and came straight from my heart. And sorry, I just need to fix my microphone. There we go. There's a lot of passion in them, and I kind of shared with you guys that I'm ready to kind of transform my podcast into really just more heartfelt and vulnerable, true, pre-scripted material. And so that is truly what I did last week, and it has been very well received, and you guys my numbers have been higher than they ever have been. And so I just want to thank you all so much for tuning in, for continuing to tune in. If this is your first time here, I am so excited to have you here on this platform. I'm just really grateful, and I really felt on my heart pulled to just share that I do not take any of your comments or engagement, reaching out, communicating, connecting with me, any of that for granted. And sometimes I have to pinch myself and ask myself if it's real. And I still have a hard time believing that people could have nice things to say and to be supportive, which is something I'm working on for sure. And I noticed yesterday, I was with my partner, we had basketball provincials with our team, and so we were kind of staying away at this beautiful hotel. And I was checking my YouTube stats when we were there, and I seen that I had a comment on one of my videos, and I was very hesitant to click the comment because I'm always scared that someone's going to say something that I don't want to read. And I think we all have that part of us that is very scared to put ourselves out there, right? Because we're scared of how that will be perceived by others. Will others judge us? Will others shame us? Will others, say mean things? And I just want you guys to know that I am right there with you, and it can be hard to put yourself out there, but I am so grateful that the comment was extremely nice and brought tears to my eyes because I'm so thankful. And so I wanted to start off this episode in that way. Today we're going to talk about, I have my phone here with very, very few notes on it, but I always like to prepare just a little bit. But I wanted to talk to you guys about ways to push through when you don't want to do something. So I quite literally walked through the door and getting back from kind of a 3-day away, I want to say vacation, but we also had a purpose. We were coaching, we're away, but it was very much some time away needed in my brain. I'm it was a vacation. And I walked through the door probably 20 minutes ago. I put some stuff down. I played with my puppy and my cat for a little bit, and I'm I need to get on this because this episode comes out tomorrow. And there was such a huge part of me that on the 2.5-hour drive home, I was I really don't want to record an episode today. I've not been feeling good. My head is still pounding in this moment. I'm tired. I am just I'm behind on work. There's things that I need to catch up on. And I just kept going in this cycle of all the reasons in which I didn't want to record an episode. But I'm but I know I'm going to do it because I know that I'm not going to miss uploading. And so I know that I'm going to do it. But sometimes we just have that part of us that's I don't want to do something. But oftentimes what happens is when we don't have enough necessity or reasoning beneath doing something, we just won't do it. If I wasn't consistent in uploading, I probably would have been I'll just do it next week. I'll just do it later. And we do that a lot with things in our life. But I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about some different ways that we can push through when we don't want to do something, even if it's not, a podcast or a business. It could literally just be doing the dishes at the end of the day. It could be taking your dog for a longer walk. It could be folding your laundry. It could be making that phone call, answering that email. Pushing through when we don't want to do things makes us better human beings. We are not always going to want to do something. That is just life. But the more that we push through when we don't want to do stuff, which is really my first huge point of why we need to push through, is it works that part of our brain that likes to be comfortable. We are wired to pick the easy way, to do the easy task, to ride, We like to get things done quickly. We like quick results. We are not wired to work hard as humans, which is quite interesting. But the more that we push through and we do things, especially when we don't want to do them, and we actually do it, it actually works parts of our brain that wouldn't normally be lit up. And it shows us that we can do hard things. It shows us that just because we have a thought, the same as when we have negative thoughts, we don't have to believe it or buy it or do what it says. Because your brain will always tell you, oh, just do the workout tomorrow. Just record the episode later. Just do it another day. Like, you don't have to do it today. And we're very good at convincing ourselves out of doing things, even if we know we want to do them. But the more that we do it consistently and we make ourselves uncomfortable, we are showing our brain we can do hard things, and doing uncomfortable things actually becomes something that we crave. There is a part of me that's like, I don't want to record, but at the same time, I'm so thankful that I have this thing that holds me accountable that I have to do, and I say have very loosely, to stay on track and to stay with my goals and to, match the promise that I made to myself and each and every one of you tuning in. When we start to hold ourselves accountable and then we follow through, it feels really, really good. There's a part of me that as soon as I hit record on this episode, I'm like, you're doing it. Like, that already feels so much better than if I would have just pushed to do this to later on. So I encourage you to ask yourself, where is it in your life that you find yourself pushing it into the future? I'll do it later. I don't want to do it right now. And then asking yourself, why is that? What is it about it that I don't want to tend to? I don't want to feel. I don't want to, bring my attention to. And then asking yourself, and which brings me to my second point, what is the alternative of not doing it? If you weren't to do the thing that you want to do, what's the other side of that? Everything has two sides. And not everything is black and white, but there is always kind of two sides to everything. There's a give and a take. And so if you're not doing something, what's something on the other side of that might inspire you to push through? So with my podcast, for example, I know that if I didn't record this and this didn't go out tomorrow, I don't know if I would ever forgive myself for missing, which sounds really harsh and intense, but it's true. I've been doing this for 2 years now, over 200 episodes. I'm not going to miss now just because I'm tired and I don't, quote unquote, want to do it. The sacrifice is too large versus what it is that I need to put into it right now. The same rings true for a lot of folks for fitness. They're like, well, I don't want to go to the gym. However, I do really want to feel confident in my body. I want to feel good. I want to sleep better. I want to feel healthy. I want to look good on the beach. I want to fit into those pants. Like, whatever. Everybody has their own why and their own reasonings. But asking yourself, what's the alternative of not doing it? What is the other side of it? So much of ways to push through when we don't want to do something is fighting back with our thoughts in our brain. And two ways that we can do that, the two that I shared with you, is what is the alternative of that? And knowing that the more that you push through, the more that you're building that resilient part of your brain that knows that it's capable of pushing through even when it doesn't want to. It's like when you just give a child what they want all the time, they just expect it. But when you start to kind of resist that, it's gonna feel uncomfortable. You're almost gonna have like a temper tantrum. You're going to feel overwhelmed. You're gonna wanna give in. But the more that you just hold yourself accountable and you show up when you don't want to, I don't want to say the easier it becomes, because it doesn't really become easier, but you begin to just be more receptive and open to it. Another way that you can push through when you don't want to do something is to ask yourself if your excuses are realistic. So there's been times where I have pushed recording up until the last possible moment, sometimes because my excuses are realistic and sometimes because they're not. For example, today it's like, I do have some realistic reasons. I don't feel good. I'm exhausted. But it's also like, you could have recorded this episode last week. You could have made time to do this. I brought my equipment to the hotel. You could have done it there. And so my excuses aren't actually realistic. I just was lazy, and I don't want to say lazy because I did need some time, but I was lazy. I wasn't proactive, and I didn't get my shit done. And so it's like, okay, well now here's the consequence of not getting it done. Are your excuses actually realistic? And if your excuses aren't actually realistic or have any real merit behind them, it really just gives us that contrast to be like, okay, well, am I just not doing it simply because I'm being lazy and because I'm just like, no, I don't want to do it because it's hard to do. And we unfortunately, full truth, even though it's hard to say, live in a society that is very common to be like that. We like when things are easy. We like when we don't have to work hard. We like when we can just take advantage of getting by in life, right? And our phones don't help, and social media doesn't help, and disconnecting doesn't help, and the pandemic doesn't help, and all these things did not help. But the only way that we can begin to work towards being hardworking, consistent, momentum-building human beings is to push through when you don't want to. And by asking yourself, are my excuses actually relevant, and are they enough for me to be okay with not taking action? And if the answer is yes, like if you are full on sick and you have a fever and you are in bed and you're not feeling good, no, you should rest. You shouldn't be doing anything else because that's your priority. But if you are prioritizing everything else with replacing it with excuses, that's when it's like, okay, one of them isn't really balancing out here. And if we continue to pick the easy road, we're just going to let ourselves off the hook over and over again. Okay, 2 more ways to push through when you don't want to do something. My favorite thing that I like to do, and my partners noticed me doing this, is I do a 1, 2, 3, go. It sounds super stupid, but sometimes all you need is a 1, 2, 3, I'm gonna do it. Right? It's like a kid that's gonna jump in the pool for the first time. 1, 2, 3, go, jump in, right? I do this when my alarm goes off in the morning. I'm like, I don't want to get up. I want to go back to sleep. Like I have all those thoughts and I'm like, nope, you can do it. 1, 2, 3, go. And I've told myself, anytime I do a 1, 2, 3, go, I have to do it. I don't get to count to 3 and say go if I'm not actually going to do it, because then it ruins the whole purpose of me having that promise with myself. But by me creating that 1, 2, 3, go, that as soon as I say go, it's communicative to my brain to be like, let's go, turn on, get moving, get into action, get your butt in gear. It's time to start. And the same rings true with my podcast. I set up my microphone, I set up my lights, my camera, my computer, my desktop, everything. I have everything ready to go. And I usually sit here and I go, okay, all you have to do is 1, 2, 3, go. And then you've already started. Sometimes when I don't want to go to the gym, I'm like, I'm going to do a 1, 2, 3, go. And all I'm going to do is get dressed for the gym. I'm not promising myself I'm going. I'm not promising myself, I'm anything. I'm just gonna go get dressed. And then after I'm dressed, I'm like, okay, on 1, 2, 3, go, I'm going to get my water, get my keys, get my headphones, pack my bag. And then I just do that. Then, okay, 1, 2, 3, go. You're gonna get in your truck and you're just gonna start to drive towards the gym. And it's these little sequences of 1, 2, 3 goes that just compound and lead to the result that I want. But sometimes just telling myself I gotta get dressed and get ready and go to the gym just feels like a lot. It feels overwhelming, and it's like, well, that's so many things and so many steps that I don't want to do, and it just makes it feel impossible. But when we break it down, it can just help it feel more tangible for us. And I know I'm using like the gym and my podcast as examples because those are the 2 areas of my life that this definitely rings the most true to. I want you to be contemplating in your life, where can I use a 1, 2, 3, go? Where can I begin to recognize what my excuses are and ask myself if they are realistic excuses? What's the alternative of not doing this thing? And then my last thing of pushing through is I give myself a reward for doing it. And sometimes the reward is simply a feeling. I know whenever I go to the gym and I leave, I feel good. I know whenever I'm done recording an episode, I told my partner on the way home, I'm like, I know that as soon as I'm done recording, I'm going to have so much energy that I'm just going to want to go for a walk. I'm probably going to want to do a workout. I'm going to want to cook dinner. I'm going to want to clean the house. I'm just going to have momentum, right? Momentum is hard to create when we just stay stagnant. Momentum is created in movement, right? It's not created in stillness. That's why it's like, you got to get the ball rolling, get the momentum built, get speed going. But that can't happen if we stay stagnant. But I find by giving myself a reward, oftentimes, I've shared this with you guys before, and it might seem so silly, but I'm like, once I'm done recording, I'm gonna go get a bath. The bath is like my favorite place in the whole wide world. I've definitely shared that with you guys on here before, but that's my reward. I'm like, once I'm done here, I can go soak in the bath and I can relax and I can enjoy it. Sometimes I'm like, when I'm done, I'm gonna go make my favorite supper. It's just whatever brings you joy. Life is hard sometimes, and there's gonna be things we don't want to do, and it's gonna be uncomfortable, and it's gonna suck, and lying about that is not doing us any favors, but it's okay to give yourself a reward for doing something you don't want to do. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and I'm like, I'm so grateful I have a doctor. Like, I could not be more grateful that I have a family doctor and that I get to have appointments with her and I get to, look after my health. But I always have anxiety going to the doctor. And I'm like, once I'm done, I'm gonna go get myself a hot coffee after. That's like my thing that I think of and I hold in my brain of like, just get through this and then you can go have your hot coffee. And it allows me to hold something in my consciousness that is positive and that can get me through versus being stuck in that mindset of, I don't wanna do this, I don't wanna do this. And so ask yourself, how can you reward yourself for doing the things you don't want to do? I used to do this all the time when I was studying for exams. I'd be like, I need to study really hard this week. And then once I'm done my exam and I hand it in, I don't have anything else, I'm gonna take myself out for brunch. And again, all these things are going to be different for all of us. Maybe it's you're gonna watch your favorite movie. Maybe you're gonna read a book you really like. Maybe you're gonna go for a hike with your friend. Like, just pick something that motivates you to push through and do the things that you don't want to do. And like I said, sometimes it's just that pure feeling. I know the feeling when I'm done recording this episode is going to be enough for me that it's worth it because I care about it and I'm proud of myself for showing up. But don't lie to yourself and be, naive that you're always going to want to do things that suck. It's okay to be like, I just don't want to do that today. And being like, but is that enough for me not to do it? Just because I don't want to do it, is that a big enough reason not to do it? Or do I think that if I pushed through, it would be worth the energy invested into it? So I hope you guys enjoyed. I knew that I needed to talk about something in regards to this because I'm like, it's just so common, right? Where we hear kids be like, I don't want to do that. And then they don't. And it's like, okay, well, how can we build that resiliency to push through and to do things when we don't want to do them? Knowing that we are laying new neural pathways in our brain to connect those receptors, that we can do hard things and our brain isn't always right. And the more that we challenge our thoughts and kind of fight back against those thoughts we have in our brain, the more it can begin to learn like, oh, okay, like I'm not always the one in control. I'm on control on the outside. And knowing that you're in control of your life is truly one of the most empowering feelings that there is. So whatever it is you don't want to do, if you're listening to this episode, what is it that you need to do? Is it a 1, 2, 3, go? What are the alternatives? What are the excuses that you're telling yourself? And how is it that you can empower yourself to maybe have a reward when you're done so you can push yourself through, knowing that you are likely going to thank yourself so much more for doing it, or you wouldn't be contemplating doing it in the first place. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Today's actually St. Patrick's Day when I'm recording today's episode. So if you did anything fun for St. Patty's Day, I hope that was awesome. Green is my favorite color, so I always love St. Patty's Day. Very side comment. But I hope your week is going fantastic, and I am so excited to chat with you all on Thursday. I cannot believe tomorrow's the 19th of March. That's just blowing my mind, to be honest. The first day of spring. Happy first day of spring. I think that's right. I hope that's right. If not, spring's coming. But if it is, happy first day of spring. See, I'm still figuring it out. I'm still trying my best. So I hope you guys are as well. I'm sending you all so much love, and I cannot wait to chat with you later this week. Bye, you guys.